We are talking about units and measurements in continuation only. Today we have to talk about the accuracy, precision of instruments and errors in the measurement. So when we do the experiments in the lab, we get some error. What is that error? We have to learn that. That is when we do take any measurement, like even if you are taking distance by using your simple meter scale, then also you may get some error. Maybe you are not measuring the division properly, maybe you are not keeping the scale properly, or you are not keeping your eye properly, having parallax, or the some other distraction is there, you are not very serious about the things, then also you will get some error. And that result is there in measuring the instrument, that is some uncertainty is there, it means. And that uncertainty means which is, you are not sure, that is termed as error. Like if you are taking the observation with the meter scale, then 1 centimeter is divided into 10 parts. 10 parts means each 1 centimeter into 10 parts means each division is of 0.1 centimeter. So you can measure 2.2 centimeter, 2.3 centimeter. So what it is that sometimes you are lying between 2.2 and 2.3. So 2 centimeter is sure, but 0.2 or 0.3, that is uncertain. You are not very sure. That is the error. So most of the times, whatever is the least count of a particular device, that is the error. If the error is not mentioned to you in some question, then least count of that device will be taken as the minimum error in that instrument. Like you have done with the vernier calipers. In the vernier calipers, this is the main scale we are having, where we are having, again it is like your simple scale. It means this is up to 15 centimeter or 17 centimeter, whatever value can be there, but it is similar to your normal scale, and one division is divided into 10 parts. So one main scale division, that is equals to 1 by 10 of centimeter. It means 0.1 centimeter, or you may say 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter. If I want to write least count of this main scale, that can be said as 0.1 centimeter or 1 millimeter. And in the lab, when we do the experiment on this scale, which is a vernier scale, there are 10 divisions, and it is made in such a way that these 10 divisions, they are equals to 9 main scale divisions. So it means one vernier scale division is equals to 9 by 10 main scale division. And you can find the least count of this device, which is given by 1 MSD minus 1 BSD, which is coming out to be 1 by 10 millimeter, because, and you can convert it into centimeter, that is 0.01 centimeter, or you may write 10 raised to the power minus 4 meter if you want to write in SI units. So least count is 0.01 centimeter. Most of the times we write in centimeter because our main scale is in centimeter. But if required, you can always convert it into meter. And in the lab, whatever vernier we are using, we are having that 10 vernier scale divisions. They are equals to 9 main scale division, and 1 main scale division equals to 1 millimeter. Now we can have the vernier calipers of different values, like I may have the 20 divisions on the vernier scale, and then the value of the least count will of course be different. So I can design different least count vernier calipers with me. Similarly, I am using the screw gauge in the lab, where this is the pitch scale. Pitch is the linear distance which is traveled when we give one complete rotation to the circular scale. So on the circular scale, whatever we are using in the lab, we are having 100 divisions with me, and that 100 divisions are covering 1 millimeter here on the pitch scale. So when I want to find the least count, that is given by pitch divided by number of divisions on the circular scale, then it is equals to 1 by 100. It means 0.01 millimeter. So it is 0.001 centimeter. So you can see the least count is further decreased. You can say that for a normal scale you are having 1 millimeter. For the vernier calipers you are having 0.1 millimeter. For the screw gauge or for the spirometer which you will be using in the lab, we are having 0.01 millimeter. Of course, you can convert it into centimeter or meter if required. For solving your numericals, these are simply the diagrams. When you see in the lab, you get it metallic, made up of steel, of course rust-free material, an alloy. So this is screw gauge and this is spherometer. Spherometer is also having the same least count as of the screw gauge, but of course we can design screw gauge or spherometer of different least count also if required. But in the lab we are using of this value when there are 100 divisions on the circular scale. So what is accuracy if I want to talk about? Accuracy means when I am taking any measurement, then how much close the measured value is to the true value. Like if I know the true value, then how much I am getting my observation close to the true value. If I am getting more close, it means I have done my experiment more accurately. But if I want to talk about the precision, that tells up to what resolution or limit the quantity is measured. Like with the screw gauge if you are measuring, or with the vernier calipers you are measuring, if comparing these two, then of course resolution of the screw gauge or spherometer is more than the vernier calipers. So this is an example for you to make the thing more clear, that supposingly if you are measuring certain length which is 2.874 centimeter, and you are doing this experiment with the normal scale, the simple scale 0.1 centimeter, and you are finding the value 2.7 centimeter, while your friend is doing with some another instrument like with vernier calipers, and he is getting the length 2.69. Then of course 2.69 is more precise because you are getting more resolution, but the value this 2.7 is more close to the true value. So this is first student is doing more accurately. So accuracy and precision you have to understand. Most of the times you get question in your exam also on accuracy and precision. So this thing should be very, very clear, that accuracy means being more close to the true value, but precise means your resolution is more of the measuring device. When we talk about the errors in the measurement, then all the errors I can divide broadly into two categories. One is systematic errors, another is random errors. Systematic errors are those errors which are in one direction, either positive or negative. It means the error is always fixed. And like in systematic error, we may take the instrumental error. Like if in vernier calipers, we say that 0 of the vernier scale is coinciding with the 0 of the main scale, it means no error. But if it is going to the left, negative error. If it is coming to the right, positive error. So error I can measure in the vernier calipers. In the screw gauge also I can measure the error. So instrumental error is a systematic error which I will measure the value and I will take it into account in giving my results after doing all the calculations and the other things. So like if you are supposingly you are measuring the temperature using thermometer, but it is calibrated that it is measuring 104 degrees Celsius at boiling point of water. But you know it should be 100 degrees Celsius at boiling point. So it means it is having an positive error of 4 degrees Celsius. This 4 degrees Celsius is to be subtracted from my observation, whatever I will be taking, because I have initially noted its error and error is positive. Whenever error is positive, correction is negative. If I get, supposingly it is calibrated that it reads 98 degrees Celsius at 100 degrees Celsius, it means 2 degrees Celsius error but negative, which is to be added to your observation. So when I am having the positive error, it is to be subtracted. When I am getting the negative error, it is to be added. And similarly in the vernier calipers also you can measure the error if both the zeros are not coinciding. And then of course it can be taken into account. Similarly, when I talk about the imperfection in the experimental techniques, it means whatever method you are doing is not correct. Like you want to measure the temperature of the human body and you are putting the thermometer in the armpit. You always know that it will give you temperature less than the actual value. So result will always be having some error that error, if you calculate by using some standard value, then that error also can be taken into account, and you can add, like most of the times we add 1 degree in that temperature to get the correct temperature. Similarly, we can have the personal error that can also be systematic. Like if one person is doing, you are in a habit to keep your hand a bit towards right or towards left, then you will be having the parallax error. Then what we may say, the same reading I can ask your friend to take, and then more than 2 or 3 persons can take, and then we can take the mean value. That mean value can be taken as the correct value or true value. So it means systematic errors, they can be minimized by improving the experimental techniques, by selecting the better instruments, and of course by removing the personal bias as far as possible. Next is with you is random errors. Random errors means they are occurring irregularly, means they are not having any particular pattern. So they can occur anytime due to some unavoidable conditions. So that we cannot take into account, but the only thing is we can only repeat the experiment under different conditions to check whether there is some error or there is no error. Now similarly, I can have the least count error with me. Least count, you all know, is the smallest value which I can measure by using any measuring device, and that, like this is we have already discussed, vernier calipers is having this your least count is 0.01 centimeter. Similarly, screw gauge, they are having 0.001 centimeter. Now if you are getting a device of higher precision, it means you are going to reduce the least count error. Like with the normal scale, you are having the error is 0.1 centimeter, but with the vernier calipers, error is 0.01 centimeter. So you have reduced the error simply by changing your technique or changing your device. Of course, least count error can be systematic also. So that also you should be. Now what it is, when we are talking about the error, when we have to discuss various numericals or the things like that, then you should be knowing these values, these things you should be keeping in mind very particularly. That is, one is with you absolute error. Absolute error is what? That when you take any, you are taking so many measurements and you know the true value. Like supposingly you are finding the acceleration due to gravity. Standard value you all know is to 9.8 meter per second square. But when you do find it experimentally, you are getting 9.6. So it means what? You are getting some difference from the true value. That is 0.2 meter per second square. That difference is your absolute error. It means absolute error is simply the difference in the magnitudes of the true value and your measured value. And this is always taken with the positive sign. So a mod sign is there. I am writing it as modulus of delta A. Delta means difference in the value of the measurement. Similarly, if you are taking 10, you are finding 10 meter per second square, then again the error is 0.2 meter per second square, but it will be always taken with positive sign. So, but in case if in some numerical you are not given with the true opposingly, then you will find the arithmetic mean of the given values, given observations, and that mean value will be taken as the true value. And if you want to find the errors in the individual measurements, like you have taken 5 observations for the length of a wire by using a scale simply, then what it is, you will find the mean value. That mean value will be taken as a true value, and this is your first observation A1. So A1 minus true value or the mean value, that will give you the absolute error for the first observation. Similarly, you can take for the second observation, for third observation or nth observation, you can always find the absolute error. The point which is to be noted, when you find delta A, you can get the result positive or negative, but absolute error is always positive. So we write it with the modulus sign. You have to take care of Now this is simply working out with the things that if you want to find the arithmetic mean of the absolute errors, you can find, and whenever you are writing the results, then you will write the true value plus minus absolute error. This is the method of writing the result with you. If I want to talk about the relative error that is equal to the ratio of the absolute error to the true value, or if true value is not given, then of course the mean value is taken as the true value. So this is the formula. Relative error that is equal to the ratio of the mean absolute error to the true value or the arithmetic mean. So mathematically you can write the formula like this: delta A mean divided by true value or the. Similarly, if I simply multiply this relative error with the 100, then I call it as the percentage error. Like this is mean absolute error to the true value, or you may take arithmetic mean, you multiply it with 100, then the result will come in the percentage, and that error we call it the percentage error. So all these absolute error, relative error, percentage error, all three are very, very important. So there is a question with you for this. Like you are measuring the time period of oscillation of a simple pendulum, because you all are aware of the simple pendulum and you know we can measure the time by using a watch clock. So that's the example I have selected for you. And in the successive measurements you are getting the timings, say the values are given 2.63, 2.56, 2.42, 2.71 and 2.80. You have to find all the three errors: absolute, relative and percentage. Now here in this question again you are not given with the true value. So I have to find the true value, that is the mean value. So what I will be doing, I will be finding the mean period of oscillation. So I will be adding all these values of the periods, time periods given, and I will divide by the number of observations. Number of observations taken are 5. So I will divide it by number 5. And I am getting 2.62 second, that is the mean value. So mean value will be taken as the true value. Now because you can see I am able to get by this my time clock or the watch with me is having the least count of 0.01 second, because I am measuring up to the resolution of 0.01 second. So it means I have to do all the calculations up to second place. So error I am using in the measurement, like 2.63 minus 2.62 I am getting positive. For second, if I am taking 2.56 minus 2.62, I am getting negative of 0.06. So I am simply doing the mathematical values. Then you can write it, convert it into positive sign while doing all the calculations in the next step, because absolute error is always to be taken as positive. This is I am simply finding the errors. Then subtract the third observation minus true value. Again you are getting with negative sign 0.2. Similarly when you are doing with the third next observation, 2.71 minus 2.62 I am getting 0.09, but with positive. Similarly for last observation I am getting 0.18 with positive sign. These all are the errors. Now when you have to find the arithmetic mean of all these absolute errors, then negative sign is not to be taken, because absolute error is always positive. So you will be simply adding all the values. You will not consider the negative sign, as I have explained to you earlier. So you will take only the values, not the sign. Only values you will add. So 0.01 plus 0.06, and this way you will add all the values but divide it by number 5 to find the mean absolute error. I am getting it 0.11 second I am getting the value. So the result which I will be writing, that I write it as the true value plus minus mean absolute error, so which I am getting it as 2.62 plus minus 0.11. So this error we generally write plus minus, but always positive sign is to be used. And when you have to find the relative error, then the formula again known to you. You have to find mean absolute error divided by its true value. So you are getting 0.11 divided by 2.62. And when you have to find the percentage error, you have to multiply the relative error with 100. So I am getting the result 4.1%. So these calculations are very much required when you perform the experiment, and these questions can be asked in theory exam also as well. So both the point of view, this question is very important for you. Coming to the next question taken from your NCERT, that you have been given with a thread and a meter scale. How will you estimate the diameter of the thread? Now for that, of course, you can wound the thread on the meter scale till you get some measurable value like 1 centimeter. So number of turns of thread you have taken, you can always calculate the diameter by simply having the length, known length divided by the number of turns. That thickness will give you the diameter of the thread. Similarly, if you are given with the screw gauge, they are saying with a pitch of 1 millimeter and 200 divisions. In the lab, generally we have 100 divisions. Now they have made the divisions 200. Even if 100 divisions we take, we give you the magnifier to take the reading. Now if the number of divisions are 200, then they will be very close to each other. Of course, you can think of. And what do you think, whether it is possible to increase the accuracy of screw gauge by increasing the number of divisions on the circular scale? Yes, of course, we can increase. But if you increase beyond this 200, then of course, technically it will be very difficult to take the reading. So you have to write both the prospects here in this answer, that of course it will increase, but it will not be able to we will not be able to measure the things very comfortably. Next part with you is the mean diameter of a thin brass rod is to be measured by vernier calipers. Question is, why is a set of 100 measurements of diameter is expected to yield a more reliable estimate than 5 measurements? That in the lab we ask you to take 5 measurements, but if I ask you to take 100 measurements, then the result will be more reliable, of course, because your error will get reduced, because as you take more number of observations, then there are less chances of getting the error. This is just to improve the things. This I have written the solution for your help, so that if you want to note down the solutions, then of course for the first part, thickness, it is length upon number of turns, will give you the diameter of the thread. Second part, it will of course least count will be decreased, accuracy is increased. Theoretically answer is yes, but practically the answer will be no. And random errors, of course, it will be more reliable to take more number of observations. Keep things up to this. Thank you.